Fight!
What's going on, everyone? You are with the Sportsmen. I'm Keith. This is Danny. We're just going to kind of jump into a little bit of just kind of free-flow fantasy football conversation. We're halfway through the league, more than halfway at this point as far as just fantasy football leagues go. It's been a bit of a crazy year. We have just a few things we're going to kind of free-flow conversation. So I just want to kind of open this up with kind of the shock rookie of the year in Jamar Chase. It's funny because we trash-talked that draft pick saying that they should have made the move and went for Penei Sewell, and they took Jamar Chase, and we're kind of like, listen, this is a guy in Joe Burrow that was beat to shit last year. Jamar Chase, at this point in the year, has more receiving yards than any other player through 7 games has ever had. This is a rookie. He's lighting it up from a fantasy football standpoint every week. I have him. I'm very happy. What do you think, Danny? Guy like Jamar Chase, I know he's your guy.
So for me, he's my guy. I do 5 leagues. I'm in every league except one where you took him. But I'm a big rookie guy. I always believe in rookies. If they're talented enough coming up, if they're that talented, they're going to produce. Period. On some level, it's just to keep them on your bench until they actually show what they're made of. But I don't think he's a shock rookie of the year for me. I mean, going into the year, everyone kind of thought it was Trevor Lawrence. But then behind Trevor Lawrence, they were saying Jamar Chase or Najee Harris, which brings me to my next point. Najee Harris, I want to talk about a little bit. Super slow start to the year. Everyone was like, "Well, no, what the hell did the Steelers do? Their line's banged up, this and that." You had to get the run game going.
Yeah.
And if you got to throw to the running back to get the run game going, then by all means do it. Because that man is showing Le'Veon Bell patience in the passing game.
The passing game, but that's the thing is that he's a PPR threat, and we do PPR leagues, but I mean, there are sportsmen out there that don't do PPR leagues, and if you don't have him PPR, you're just getting his touchdowns because he's having games where he's having 36 yards rushing. Where I understand what you're saying as far as the patience. Le'Veon Bell had the blessing of that line.
Yes,
the blessing of the threat of Antonio Brown on the edge, where Ben Roethlisberger was still kind of making good plays.
But the way they run their screens is very similar. The way they hover around the line of scrimmage and then just kind of turn and put their hands up, that's the shit I look for. That's what I want, especially PPR.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because that'll kind of bring me into my next point. The running backs this year, it was a pretty kind of standard McCaffrey, Cook, Henry, Kamara. A lot of leagues had Zeke ranked up above guys like Aaron Jones, Saquon. It's interesting because going into 2022 for next year, these running back rankings are going to get shook up. I predict a lot of Derrick Henry going first overall.
Let's go through the top guys.
All right.
Right away. Well, Derrick Henry, I agree with you. I think Derrick Henry is the running back to have, especially for the fact that he's catching more balls this year. He threw a damn touchdown. You're seeing Derrick Henry do shit that Derrick Henry's just never done, and he's still bowling people over.
Okay. All
right. So now we'll go Christian McCaffrey.
I go Christian McCaffrey, but my thing is, how does he bounce back after?
Well, I'm saying I just think drop in general.
Yeah,
he's just gonna
drop. Yeah.
And that concerns me because it's the second year in a row.
Dalvin Cook.
He's going to drop too. Not as much because he's been every year he misses one or two, about 2-3 games.
Kamara.
See, Kamara for me is his ceiling is pretty much set. He's gonna float around top 5, and he always performs up to that. I mean, if the Saints didn't have Kamara, they wouldn't have an offense right now.
Yeah. Zeke.
Zeke drops because he's in a straight up timeshare.
Second round.
Second round? Yeah, late first, early second.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saquon's
mid-second. He drops far. That man cannot send. No disrespect to Saquon Barkley because we know he's a freak athlete, but it's not a matter of getting hurt now. It's a matter of just getting on the field. That's the thing. He can't get on the field.
Oh yeah. Aaron Jones.
I think his stock goes up, even though they're throwing the A.J. Dillon.
Yeah. Joe Mixon.
I think his stock goes up. As long as he stays healthy, he's already missed a game.
DeAndre Swift,
his stock goes up because he's performing really well. Jonathan Taylor, his stock goes way up.
Way the
so
fuck
outside
up.
of Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor's been the most steady running back. You could argue Nick Chubb too. Nick Chubb missed the game.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb
goes. I don't know. It's tough.
It's tough because he's
I feel like him and Kareem Hunt probably stay where they are because
Yeah.
people are still going to question Kareem Hunt for whatever the man puts up. Puts up good level 2 running back points every week. But all right, so running backs. Let's touch on another thing. Tight end play this year, from a fantasy standpoint, has been insane. Kelsey's dropped a little bit because of what he's done. I don't think he drops ranking wise. I still feel like he's the best tight end fantasy wise. Waller's not having the year that we expected him to have. Year.
Kelsey's having a down.
Kittle's having a horrible year. Tanyan, awful. Not that he was some insane tight end.
Spikes.
Hawkinson spikes. Gesicki's kind of making his
He's
comeback.
good. He's like making his statement.
Zach Ertz, it'll be interesting to see where he goes next year and what they continue to do with him. It'll be interesting to see also Goddard, what he can do now. But my question is with the Eagles from a fantasy standpoint. I don't know. Speaking of guys, where does a guy like Jalen Hurts? I feel like Jalen Hurts drops because people were high on Jalen Hurts this year as far as fantasy. We were high on Jalen Hurts. And he's just showing that he's kind of a bad quarterback. He's more like a running back.
His arms are erratic.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is like, you can't compare anyone to Lamar Jackson. But even with Lamar Jackson's early throwing struggles, he didn't make horrible decisions. He never had a bad arm.
No, it's just accuracy was his issue, and he cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into quarterbacks, I want to go back to one tight end specifically. Kyle Pitts had every fantasy owner rattled through the first 3-4 weeks, and the man he's been a monster the past 3.
Yeah.
Well, they had a bye week, so 2.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Shit, that's looking up.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the quarterbacks. I agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts, while his rushing capability keeps him on the radar, I feel like that's his saving grace because he needs to get more accurate.
Well, you could even argue guys like Matt Stafford move up. Guys like Carson Wentz will move up because it's not like he was drafted high this year.
No, Carson Wentz is playing good
though. Games. Tannehill's been erratic this year.
Yeah, I think that Tannehill's set. He's the lower echelon of quarterbacks taken. Once the guys go, then you don't. At that point, there's no one you like.
Yeah.
You're kind of just going to dabble with whoever's there.
Yeah,
and you get the best player.
Yeah, you could even argue and I mean I'm sure he turns it around, and the season's still young, but a guy like Patrick Mahomes, because Josh Allen and Kyler Murray are just going to continue to rise. Lamar Jackson's always going to be taken high. Russell Wilson will probably drop a little bit, but not again. Where do you drop? Because there's only so many elite tier quarterbacks.
Well, speaking on Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs in general. Let's really dissect it a little bit. Kelsey's down, having an off year.
Hill.
Tyreek Hill, he'll always have boom capability, but he's even having a down year.
Clyde.
Mecole Hardman is whatever Mecole Hardman is.
Buns.
You get lucky if you play him one week and he does good.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Not
atrocious.
Good. Yeah,
they're just not. Granted, he's been hurt, but even before that, he was playing like shit.
Well, it's interesting because with Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs have never really had a great running game. Ever since Jamal Charles, it's been kind of this rotational thing, and this is obviously from a fantasy standpoint. But Kareem Hunt was a year. It was a year. But yeah, they're a team that just. Not to get too far away from fantasy, but they're a team that they've always had a dominant running game from Priest Holmes to Larry Johnson to Jamal Charles. And now, again, you have one of the best quarterbacks to ever play and talent-wise, probably the best guy to ever step on the field. But when you abandon that running game, that's a weapon. A team with as bad of your defense, a guy like Derrick Henry in the playoffs will run you the fuck down and just keep you off the field. Because they'll just take as long as they can, and you will not stop him.
Well, the last thing I want to say about the Chiefs is it's shocking how they're playing this year, purely because they upgraded their line.
Yeah, well, that's what they spent. They spent so much money on their line. They lost a few guys, they gained better guys, and then I don't know. It's got to be something. It's got to be something with them. But let's continue with a little fantasy. What about the shock of Cooper Kupp? Lighting it up.
Cooper Kupp, I believe, is on pace right now to have the most fantasy points ever for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Dude,
and that means more than Calvin Johnson, Julio, Antonio Brown. That's pretty nutty to think of.
And you know what's crazy? We're going back to average draft position, but it was literally Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. right there. Because based off all the years prior, it was pretty much 50-50 split.
Yeah.
One game, this guy will go up, next game the other guy will go up. It has not been that way. Like, Stafford had to make a decision to literally 1 week make Robert Woods happy, and he had that one explosive week where he had like 35 fantasy.
Robert Woods came to him like that stupid shit in the Madden franchise when your wide receiver comes in.
Tell you
despite the fact that it's like 3 games in, they have like 33 receptions, 6 touchdowns, and like 480 yards. They're like, I'm not happy, I'm not getting used, and then you have to get them some ridiculous amount of bullshit. But not to get too far into Madden. But another guy that's a shock is fucking Deebo Samuel. For a team in the 49ers that does not have an identity on offense, they're just like a running team. Deebo Samuel just lights it up.
Identity.
Yeah, but all right, so they don't have an identity at a quarterback.
Yeah, okay.
For a team that doesn't have a true starting quarterback, I mean, I guess Jimmy Garoppolo is your starting quarterback. He had his worst game ever, but I mean, I guess you can blame it a little bit on the weather in his last game, but Deebo Samuel still seems to get his points every single week.
Killing it. He's
like a 30-plus guy every week you can count on him for. It's insane.
If you're in fantasy and you have one of those guys, you're definitely happy.
I have Deebo.
You're definitely not happy if you have Allen Robinson or Galladay on your team, and you draft them thinking that they were going to be target hogs, because there is no excuse for Allen Robinson. He is the target hog, but that team is just shit. I think it's Matt Nagy's days are numbered. I think that they don't have it, and I don't even know what it is. I can't even find the words to explain it. Because Justin Fields is not a bad. I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that scheme just doesn't work for anybody.
No, they need to find a coach that has what the French call a certain I don't know what. Yeah, they need to like get something going with a coach, because the that whole team offensively is no one's a threat. All rookie quarterbacks this year have been awful.
Yeah.
Not that you ever count on a quarterback to come in and have an insane year, but
Mac Jones has been okay.
Yeah. He's not like lighting it up. He's not having an Andrew Luck year or an RG3 year,
no.
or even a Baker Mayfield year.
Oh, there is somebody I forgot about that I wanted to mention. This might have been a steal on waivers. Mike Williams.
Mike fucking Williams.
Mike Williams has been a beast all year. He's been banged up the past 2 games. Well, the past game, because they were on a bye week. Dude, it's just about like hitting the lottery, either on a rookie or on a waiver ad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, man.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, because I feel like Mike Williams, Cooper Kupp, those are those guys that everyone can remember in their draft. If you didn't take him, you're just sitting there watching him. You're like,
damn.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take him. I need a running back. I need a bench running back before I take a second receiver.
Yeah.
I need a flex guy.
and then they all suck. And you're like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah.
I could have had
quarterbacks start going. You panicked. You took fucking Kirk Cousins in the 3rd round. Like,
you know what, Keith? I think I need to bring up one more person before we sign off here.
Okay.
Cordarrelle Patterson.
Cordarrelle, you got your man crush on Cordarrelle this year.
Cordarrelle Patterson may have won some people the leagues this year, for real.
Dude, I just want to say one thing. I've had every good player, when they were horrible. I had Devontae Adams like 3 years when he was horrible. Cordarrelle Patterson.
Jordy Nelson.
I had Cordarrelle Patterson the first year I ever played fantasy football. I tried to trade him to everyone, and no one wanted him because he was horrible on the Vikings. That was his rookie year too. But fucking Cordarrelle Patterson.
Amazing.
It's amazing what a gadget can do.
And
he doesn't even have a position.
And if you play Yahoo Fantasy, you can play him at wide receiver or running back.
I was gonna say, because he's literally like a positionless dude.
Yeah.
He's like a basketball player of the NFL. But all right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for tuning into the Sportsman. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out all our other social media down in the description below. And definitely come and check us out on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, on Twitch /Sportsman. That's where we want you to come and debate us. Come talk to us about whatever you're feeling with sports. Tell us if you want us to change stuff. Give us some ideas. Fuel our conversation. We want you to run it. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Other than that, we will check you guys next time. Peace.
Enter my intimate energy element. I am an entity walking ahead of the pack. I really am out of my head, and it's evident that I will never be able to ever quit. Melanin